Surrender. And what does it mean? Over the past several weeks, I've actually had to deal with surrender in different aspects. One, coming off from being sick. Two, actually my father passing away. And what are the components of surrender? What do we actually go through? How do we surrender to life itself?
Yeah, that's a good one.
So how do you? You've experienced some of the things that I've experienced over the past couple of weeks. How do you, when everything's running along smoothly, and all of a sudden it's flipped on its head, how do you step back into surrender to reclaim that essence of peace?
Well, I think it's acknowledging that things are upset. And at first, I think I want to describe surrender, because I don't know if everybody would understand when we say surrender. It's not a sign of weakness. It's not raising the white flag and saying, I give in to life, right? It's about surrendering, saying I'm not in control per se. I can only control certain things in my life. I can control how I react.
Mm-hmm.
I can control my actions.
Okay.
I can control what I do with my emotions, how I handle them, my behaviors. And so when I say I surrender, I don't try to hold the container for all of it by myself. I ask for assistance, divine assistance.
So give me the short version of surrender.
Is there a short version? I don't know.
Well, I just heard you say that actually when you surrender to your emotions, your behaviors. You're not trying to control life. It's you're experiencing life as life comes at you.
Yeah, and I don't know that it meant like surrendering into my emotions. I acknowledge them.
Acknowledge your emotions.
I acknowledge all of that. I acknowledge that I'm not. Why don't you go? I can see what you're going to come up with, and then maybe I'll
so with the surrender, actually, and I guess the emotions is a great spot to start. It's kind of, for me, it's feeling through the things that we feel. It's that undercurrent of you're not exactly sure what's going on. There may be anger, there may be sadness. It's sitting and getting quiet and just experiencing that. Mm-hmm. Right? That's the way to process emotion. It's not necessarily as much as labeling it as it is, I don't feel good. I feel a sadness. I want to go climb in bed and cover my head, just disappear. But rather than climbing in bed and disappearing, it's just the simple acknowledgement of this is where I'm at right now.
But you can climb into bed and cover your head for a little while if that's what you need. That's okay.
I completely agree.
Okay.
But doing it repeatedly, day in, day out, that's probably not good.
No, I mean, because then you go into what we would label a victim mode, that life is happening to me, instead of by me, because you have control to alter.
So how I've outlined surrender there, how do you incorporate your surrender into what I've shared? Is it similar? Is it different?
When I say I surrender, I am willing to allow life to occur. I'm not trying to control every facet of life. I'm not trying to control every outcome. I'm trying to be in a state of creativity and flow, solution. I guess it's just, I need to really come up with a better way to say it.
Yeah, I think, but I think
And
what's
I'm
really
sweating because I'm like, you put on the spot, I'm not doing a good job.
it's not true. But this is the essence of what makes us great as a couple. And that's the simple fact that acknowledging how you handle things and understand surrender, and how I myself handle and understand it, is that we're so different sometimes, but yet we're willing to listen and learn from each other. Because some of the things that you explain, you put words to thoughts that I have that I've not been able to articulate.
Mm.
And I think that's very important, to have that conversation, that banter back and forth of what is surrender, rather than going, that's stupid. No, that's not right. But it just isn't true. I mean, we're both individually different in how we process and understand
And articulate.
and articulate.
Yeah. But I guess, and just going back to it too, I feel very connected in my spiritual practice. And my spiritual practice is what I surrender into. That's where I get my strength from, and my capacity to move through uncomfortable situations, difficult situations, hard times, things that I'm like, whew, this is exhausting. Help me navigate this. And that help me is to my divine source, to God, to the angelic realm, to my ancestors. And I'll throw in everybody else too. You know, I ask the animals for guidance, and, you know, nature, and the stars and the heavens. I mean, all of it, the elements, because we are in essence all of that. So,
and you bring up a really good point there, because for me, and I've started doing this a lot in the last year, is when things feel weighted down, there's nothing more beautiful than walking outside and looking up into the sky at the stars and seeing the magnitude of what exists beyond what's going on in here. And I think that's so important, that there's so much more to my world. When I get stressed, when I'm fighting, my world shrinks down into a tunnel vision of, I got to handle this, I got to do this sometimes. But if I'm sharp with what I do daily with my spiritual practices, I can take that step back. I can walk outside, I can look up to the stars and realize that there's so much more to life than what's going on in my head.
right. 100%. So, and during the meditative practice that I do, I always try to center into my heart and into my high heart. And that is an amazing strength when you're in that space, because it allows you to operate on a whole different level. It's so much more expansive than any other feeling that you might be coming from, that can be exhausting. That being said too, you know, I also release when I'm like, I'm feeling so angry. Like I don't contain it. I allow it to escape. I do what I need to do to get it out. And whether it's, you know,
Linda Lee's got this incredible practice when she feels things just building up. It's like an energetic vomit. And she will literally just try to get the emotions out, get them flowing.
Right. It's also called lion's breath. There is a method to it. I didn't know that when I first started doing it. I just was doing it, and then I found out, oh, that's a thing. Okay.
So in reality, it works, because I've tried it. After I laughed a couple of times that you're doing it. So like, what are you doing? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's true though. It shifts energy in your body, and it just
Allows you to get
allows
it
you to
out,
purge that bad
shake
stuff.
it out. You can do that. I mean, there's a lot of ways to move energy out and to help it become unstuck, because that's the last thing you want to do is just keep swallowing it down and keep holding it, because that is just.
So share with me about your high heart when you talk about that. What is that?
So we have our physical heart, and we can
Correct.
feel things in our physical heart. We actually can feel that heartache when we have that. But our high heart is like our soul heart.
Okay.
It's the thing that you can feel it bloom. You can feel the warmth. You can feel that energy. That's where I feel like the heart coherence. I oftentimes will get tears in my eyes when I am in that space of that high heart. And I know that there's another level of the heart too, but it's your divine, your soul.
Is it a gratitude? Is it?
There's definitive appreciation and gratitude, but as I ask to go into a space of unconditional love, and to be in recognition that I am more than this body, that I am an actual soul, then
So you're transcending the physical body almost to the soul aspect of yourself.
Right. That you can feel it physically. So you can feel there's an expansion. You can feel warmth. You can expand it out through your entire body. It's just.
And when you feel the expansion, it's like an energy. Is it like?
Yeah, and I've been doing it long enough now where I can kind of direct it in different ways. But yes.
How would someone start experiencing this?
Through meditative practice, through awareness, through breath. You can focus on breathing in there initially, and just kind of going into a calm space and asking to feel love, asking to connect with your higher self, not with your egoic self, but your high self, your soul self.
So when I've done this, and I've practiced this a couple times myself, and I close my eyes and concentrate on my breath. And the initial breath is in through the nose, into the belly, and out. And so that gets me to a calmer state, almost more from beta waves to drop to alpha waves. And then I concentrate on bringing the breath in through my heart. And that actually even calms me even just a little bit more. I don't know if I've ever really concentrated on bringing in it through the high heart, though. I'll have to try that.
Yeah. And then, again, I think as you get further into meditation, and even in the very beginning, like I think you use the NLP technique of what's that called when you do your anchoring of anchoring. And so you can do it instantly. Like you just, whatever it is, you want to squeeze a finger, or you want to give yourself a little pinch, whatever it is, you anchor that in. And then you can go there instantaneously. And so I think by doing that, you're able to go deeper, because then you can sit in that space without having to get there. You can get there like that and then deepen into it even more. We're still at the very beginning.
So maybe we'll put together some videos on how to basically get into the breathing and stuff.
We can do some guided videos on that.
So we've taken this actually from surrender all the way to meditative practices that we use.
Which is a state of surrender.
And what works for us, and what works for you, and what works for me, and the difference. But in the end, the most important thing is that a state of grace
and appreciation
and gratitude
and love.
and love. I kind of just rolled off. So appreciation, gratitude, surrender, love. Anything else?
And allowance. I mean, just being in that state of allowance. I think,
Allowance.
again, don't ever try to stuff things away and say, I shouldn't feel like this. Say, I'm feeling this. Own it.
Feel it.
Own it and let it move through you. Because joy moves through us, and sadness and grief move through us. It's part of being human, and it's part of letting us know that something's important to us.
Yep.
So that's a whole nother level to emotional intelligence. But
Absolutely.
yeah, we'll let you go for now because that was a lot. I hope you stayed tuned the whole time. We'll see you later.